guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to read something from Reddit that I found. I was up last night, couldn't sleep. I found some Reddit stories that really creeped me out, which was probably the worst idea when you can't sleep. I actually did a video before about this, and if you guys haven't seen that, I'll link it above or I'll link it down in the details. I'll see if I could get like one of those card things that the fancy YouTubers do. Who knows if I can figure it out. I suck at technology, but if you guys like these type of videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, whatever, and let's jump into it. It's called Don't Help the Children at Night, and it's by the user Victor Gray Writes. The ringing doorbell was harsh in the quiet night. I glanced at the time on my phone, 10 p.m. Why would someone be ringing my doorbell right now? I slid my finger across the screen and pulled up my camera app, peering through the doorbell camera. When it comes to baby monitors, camera apps, things like that freaks me out. I always feel like I'm gonna see something terrifying on there. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. All right, back to the story. I'm like so ADD, it's not even funny. There was no one there. As I watched the camera, a notification popped up and a melodic sound cut through the air. Doorbell alert. Someone had rung it again. There was no one there, though at least not on camera. My hands were slightly shaking as I stood and started toward the doorway. I already had a nervous temperament, but things like this made it worse. I'm sure it is something innocent, something wrong with the camera system. I hope so, at least. I walked toward the front door and peered through the peephole. To my surprise, there were two young children, a boy and a girl, standing on the porch. They were heavily disheveled, stained and dirty clothes torn and hanging off their body. The doorbell rang once more while I was standing there, chiming bells ringing in my ear. I pulled the door open and squatted down. Hey, what are you doing out so late? Is everything okay? Where are your parents? The two kids seemed to stare at me without registering what I was saying. We sat there frozen in time until the boy spoke up. May we come inside? We have had a rough night and it's freezing out here. He sounded polite and well-spoken, especially for someone that looked like they went through something traumatic. Now that I had a closer look, I could see the little girl had her hand on her neck, pressing a cloth down. Yes, of course. Come inside, get warm, and we can keep talking. I moved out of the way and both children walked by slowly, keeping pace with one another as they entered my home. They seemed to know where they were going because they went straight into the living room and sat on the couch. I followed behind and sat across from them. Let's start again. My name is Marcy. What are your names? I gestured to them, encouraging them to continue speaking. The girl still had a plain look on her face, no reaction to my words. My gaze was drawn back toward the boy as he spoke. My name is Frederick, and my companion, my friend here, her name's Margaret. We got a little lost last night. Just need some time to warm up and then we will be on our way. He seemed strangely calm as his eyes pierced into mine, staring directly at me as he spoke with confidence. Where are your parents, Frederick? It's late for children as young as both of you to be out on your own. Do you know their phone numbers? A look of annoyance briefly crossed his face, twisting it into an ugly snarl before it was gone, and he had a calm smile once more. Perhaps I imagined his reaction. It was late even for me, and I already felt tired. Nothing to worry about. We are quite mature for our age. Our guardians, our parents, would not worry about us. Just let us rest, and we will bother you no more. His smile was weirdly serene. He was seemingly unbothered by the fact that they were in a stranger's home wearing dirty and torn clothing this late at night, but I tried to focus and found myself staring at his piercing blue eyes, and fatigue clouded my brain. I shook my head and tried to continue the conversation. Can I get you something to drink at least? Something for you, Margaret? She is fine. She needs nothing from you. I will take some wine if you have it, preferably Bordeaux. I tried not to chuckle as I responded, a small smile on my face. You are funny, aren't you? How about I make some hot chocolate for everyone? I'll be right back. I walked away to the kitchen before he could say another word. I laughed internally at the thought of such a young child drinking wine. I guess he figured it didn't hurt to ask. I pulled out the pitcher I used to make the hot chocolate, a simple white appliance with a small blender in the bottom, and poured in the mix with some milk. With a press of the button, it was quietly whirling away. I could hear soft-spoken words coming from the living room, but couldn't make out the content. It was clear that the girl was speaking now, though. I went to the living room entrance and saw that they had lifted away from the cloth from her neck. There was a deep red blood staining the fabric. Her neck was red and raw, a large slit slowly weeping as her blood dripped down her neck. He had the cloth held up to his face, his eyes closed as he seemed to sniff the fabric. I slowly backed away and re-entered the kitchen. Something was off. They were already weird for children, but this is just wrong. I could feel it deep in my gut and decided I needed help. I felt sick as I tried to think about what to do next. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911, and a pleasant female voice rapidly answered it. 911 operator, how may I help you? Yes, I am at XXX Street. I had 2 young children, a boy and a girl, show up at my house tonight. The girl has an injury on her neck. I need the police here right away. I think the boy hurt her and they ran away from home. As I told the operator more information, I heard a sudden hissing sound behind me. I spun around and saw the children were in the kitchen with me. The boy had a hideous face, brow furrowed in anger. His face startled me and I dropped the phone, the last bit of conversation fading away as it bounced to the floor. How old are the children? We will be sending paramedics with the police. Can you confirm your address? The quiet voice emitting from my phone was interrupted by the sharp tones of the boy. You shouldn't have done that. I wasn't interested in you. I have Margaret already. I was confused. My mind felt clouded by more than just fatigue now. It took all of my energy to say a simple sentence out loud. I'm just getting you help. I saw the wound on her neck and was concerned. That's all. The police will be able to help you better than I can. My voice was high and whiny. It sounded like I was making a lame excuse. What the hell was going on with me? This boy's eyes were piercing mine once more, swirling blue pools that reminded me of the deep ocean. I could barely focus on the words he spoke next. Come down here, Marcy. I have something to show you. I could not stop myself. I felt compelled to move forward and get on my knees right in front of him. I was now staring face to face with him as he began to smile. He opened his mouth and I saw his teeth were stained red, a rotting smell coming from his throat. I wanted to gag, but I could not move. He slowly raised his hand in front of my face, seemingly ordinary, until he grabbed his fingers with his other hand. A sickening crunch filled the air as he broke his fingers off, exposing the shining bone of the middle joint of each finger. Blood spurted onto my face as I stared at him, frozen and motionless. He started to laugh as each of the bones began to grow, lengthening and rotating into sharp spikes. My heart was pounding in my head. It felt like a migraine that I could not escape from. I watched onward, feeling a vile acid burn the bottom of my throat as he held the tips of his fingers out towards the girl. Her eyes widened as she jutted her head down towards his open hands. I could hear crunching and sucking sounds as she ate each of the fingertips from his palm. He continued to laugh as he started to tickle my throat with his fingers. I told you, Marcy, we didn't need any of your help. Outside of just wanting to warm up for a bit, we could have just left if you haven't have called anyone. I could feel a small dribble of blood slowly trailing down my neck from where one of the bones had scratched me. His eyes widened at the sight of blood and he began to lick his lips, his blood-stained teeth clacking together loudly. He seemed exhilarated as he started to pull me close, moving his mouth to the small steam. Suddenly, he froze. As his eyes darted away, the sounds of sirens filling the empty night, flashing lights shining through the edges of the curtains. He sighed and let go of me. It seems like you are very lucky tonight, Marcy. We are interrupted another time then. I look forward to seeing you in the future. He had a slight grin as if they were freshly married. The girl had a giddy smile on her face, as fresh as blood stained the edges of her mouth. He disappeared out of sight, and I felt my mind clearing once again. I grabbed my neck to clamp down on the wound, but realized it was only a tiny scratch. My head hurt worse than anything, still pounding as my breathing calmed down. I didn't know what to tell the police when I finally answered the door. I think they thought I was drunk. I showed police the camera footage and alerts, but they seemed more annoyed than concerned. I could have sworn that as they turned off their flashing lights, I could see 2 pairs of eyes staring at me from the dark, a couple of houses down. I decided to attack one of the departing police officers in my panic, hoping to go to jail. I got my wish. The resulting struggle placed me in custody for the night for being intoxicated. I had been staying in a motel on the other side of town since I was released. I'm trying to find some way to get my belongings and sell my house without returning. My funds are draining as I waste time scared and helpless in what to do next. What scares me the most is I saw on TV while trying to distract myself a little girl who had been kidnapped in the past week. A little girl named Margaret. Ugh. Not gonna lie, this one sent shivers down my spine. My biggest fear is these like black-eyed things coming to my door. I don't even want to think about it. So yeah, every time I take my dogs out at nighttime, that's of course immediately what I think of. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think it's some sort of supernatural phenomenon? Do you think it's like the black-eyed creatures that come that you're supposed to not let into your house? I want to know what you guys think. I hope you guys like this video. Stay safe. I love you, and I'll see you soon.